Hello everyone, and welcome back to another mathematics and GIS tutorial. And in this tutorial video, I want to talk about actually generating a standard equation given information about the vertices and the foci. So this is going to generally be what you will most often be given, but we're going to go through the steps and you should hopefully see that there are a couple of other pieces that you could be given that would still put you in the same place. So let's start off with the information we have for a standard ellipse that is centered at the origin, that has vertices of 0, 8 and -8, 0, and foci at 5, 0 and -5, 0. And before we do anything else, what I want to sort of highlight are some key pieces of information. The first being that we have vertices and that we have foci. So that means that in the grand scheme, right, we have vertices, which means we're dealing with that A parameter, and we have foci, which means we're dealing with that C parameter. And just to sort of keep everybody's mind on track here, right, we're trying to get to the standard equation, which is going to take one of two forms, either x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared, or x squared over b squared, fix that up, or x squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared. All right. And so we're going to hopefully end up in one of these two cases. So the first thing we need to realize is we have vertices and we have foci. So that means we have the A and the C parameter that we talked about last time. The second thing is we notice that the x's that in both of these ordered pairs have zeros as one of their coordinates, and the fact that we have zeros as one of their coordinates, right, the fact that we have zeros as one of the coordinates, right, this tells us we are centered at the origin. Right, so it tells us we're centered at the origin. And then because the vertices, the vertex, right, because this number here is an x, this tells us that we're going to be dealing with this first equation here. Right, this tells us that A is going to be bigger than B. So let's go ahead and so we can actually cross this out. Right. This is because the A value is in the x coordinate. Right. Again, we now know that A is always going to be bigger than B, and that because A is in the x coordinate, that means that our A squared has to be under our x squared. So let's go ahead and let's figure out what we have. Well, we have x squared and we have y squared. We're not too worried about those. And those are going to be equal to 1. So we have our A, right? Our A is going to be 8, right? Because again, in this case, A is going to be the length from the origin to the vertex, which is 8. All right, so let's go ahead and which is 8. So we can put 8 squared. Now, what is B? What is B? So we need B question mark. What is B? Well, we have this handy dandy equation from the previous video that c squared equals a squared minus b squared, right? So we want b squared. We have a squared and we have c squared. So what we can do is we can do b squared is equal to, if we move the b over to here, we're going to get c squared minus a squared, or actually, sorry, it would be a squared minus c squared. So we have that. So we have b squared is equal to 8 squared minus, and then our c is 5 minus 5 squared. So that's going to be equal to 64 minus 25. 64 minus 25 is going to be 39. Now the nice thing here is, because the way this equation is written, right, what we want is b squared, so we don't actually have to solve take the square root of 39. We can just plug 39 in right here. All right, we can plug this 39, can go right in there. So we can rewrite this now as x squared over 64 plus y squared over 39 equals 1. And this would be the standard equation for the ellipse. And because a is always bigger than b, and a is under the x coordinate, then we would know that this ellipse would be horizontal, that it would be wider than it is tall. So in the next video, we're going to flip this around and we're going to talk about one that, I'm going to spoiler alert, that is wider than it is tall. Or sorry, taller than it is wide. So again, if any of this was confusing, I encourage you to pause the video, go back, and rewatch the parts you're confused about. And as always, please reach out. Thank you.